Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of MC Fireside Chats. My name is Brian Searl with Insider Perks here as always with Cara Csizmadia from the Canadian Camping and RV Council. Got a bunch of very cool guests with us today. Daryl's actually going to be a regular on the show. Going forward, we're going to introduce him, tell you why he's here, what he's doing, things like that. But first, we're super excited. I realized I was talking to these guys before the show started. How the intro that plays here, it's beautiful for the people watching it on all the Facebook pages and YouTube channels and places that were broadcast live. But for all you people who are listening right now on Spotify and Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts, it's like a nice melody, but you don't know what you're actually listening to. So this morning I actually ordered a professional podcast intro with some videos. Like Daryl was reading it to Cara before the show. Cara, it's not really going to sound like that. Is that a fire alarm? Somebody's going off in the background? Do we need to evacuate?
Let's hope not.
That's the good part about being virtual and not being in the same room. If there's a fire, only one of us has to leave.
The show must go on.
Yeah, I mean, we can pick up where we left off. So, but yeah, professional podcast intro. Daryl was reading it like it's just going to be like, hey, you're watching Modern Campground, but it's got to be professional. So, like, I couldn't do it. Daryl couldn't do it. Cara could probably do it. But you're watching Modern Campground or something like that, right? With sound effects and something cool like that. So we'll have a professional intro. Maybe we'll agree next week. We'll see how that goes. But we'll start the video component with it, but it'll talk, be professional and stuff. So lots of stuff going on today. We got Mark Kep on the show. If you don't know Mark Kep, why? I'm sure. What you've been doing.
Well, I appreciate that.
You would need an intro.
Mark Kep, jack of all trades, he's going to introduce himself in a second, but we got it because we're live in his 2 of 27 groups, or however many he operates. The two big ones, RV park owners, operators, managers. There's like 17 keywords in there. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah,
it's long, and it's got like 200 members in it. All kinds of amazing, interesting discussions. So we're live in there today for the first time. Looking forward to continue that partnership with Mr. Kep and his groups. Going forward to bringing you guys value. And if you have questions during the show, let us know underneath. We're happy to answer your questions, bring you on the show, talk about all that kind of cool stuff, and involve you guys as much as possible, topical discussion, stuff like that. And then we're in the getting into the RV park business group. Is that what it is?
Yes, sir.
So we're live in that group as well. Another 1,800 members there, so we're excited to kind of grow that relationship with Mr. Kep. And then we got Casey Cochran on here from CampSpot, as always. Really cool reservation system. You guys just introduce yourself. Like, Mark, give us your bio, your feel.
Yeah, so you mentioned the groups. We started these Facebook groups to help parks better operate themselves, and they've become entities of their own. So our whole purpose there is to help owners better operate and run better parks. So love seeing that happen. And then on our side, we run campgroundviews.com. It's a search engine for campgrounds. We just launched the new campground virtual tour technology that is absolutely blown up. So we're not doing too much, just a little busy.
Just a few things here and there, right? We're definitely going to talk about virtual tours later. We want to hear about that stuff. First, Casey, Jack of CampSpot, Jack of all trades, whatever what is your official title? Director of Business Wizardry or something like that?
Yeah, Director of Business, something like that. Yeah, I kind of head up our business team over at CampSpot, so I get the pleasure of working with our marketing, our sales, our support, our account managers, all that good stuff. So, yeah, CampSpot, reservation system, one of many that are out there, just trying to do our part to help campgrounds progress and move into this century and not spend so much time on the phones and automate processes. And our goal really through and through is to drive revenue. That's what our focus is. But a lot of great companies out there, we like to put our hat in as one of them.
Well, I think that's why we all get along so well, right? Like the people who are on the show, obviously there are many others in the industry, but specifically like CampSpot's trying to push the industry forward. Mark's trying to push the industry forward. I'm trying to push the industry forward. Dale, brand new, hadn't done anything yet, but I'm hoping the same thing. Cara has all kinds of suggestions. She's always trying to suggest with CCRVC and push that association forward. So Yeah, I think that's what we're here to talk about today, right? This Modern Campground, this brand new site that we've launched and conceived, and Daryl is my editor of. Introducing him, you guys are going to see a lot more of him. He's going to talk here in a second and kind of give you an extended bio about himself. But we're going to basically make him the face of Modern Campground, because who really wants to see my face more? No one. Yeah, it's way too much. I can just turn off my camera here. We can just do this, and I can just talk that way. Yeah, it looks much better that way. I didn't have wrinkles or anything. Did you see that? Like, it's completely smooth, the circle and all.
Nice.
So yeah, Daryl's going to be the face of Modern Campground. He's going to eventually do interviews for us, articles, original story, be in contact with all the people, all the things, and all that kind of stuff for me. So super excited to have Daryl here. Tell him a little bit about yourself, Daryl.
Oh, hi, everyone. My name is Daryl. I am the editor of Modern Campground. Very, very excited to be here. I'm from Hawaii. I'm Hawaiian. We moved a lot as a kid. We moved a lot since I grew up in a military family. So I am a Army brat. We moved from base to base. So I lived in Hawaii. I lived in Okinawa, Japan. I lived in San Francisco for a little bit. Moved around, lived in Florida. I'm currently based in Manila, the Philippines. This is basically where I decided to station myself. I worked with the travel industry for an extended period of time. I guess since I traveled a lot, it basically never left me. I worked for business travel and leisure travel. I was marketing guy. I was a sales guy. I was doing digital marketing and helping with copyright and writing and covering news and media and conferences and all that. And I'm happy to have landed here at Modern Campground and with Brian. So I'm looking forward to more things.
I'm super excited to have you, Daryl, because like we stumbled onto Daryl, like it was an accident. And
it's literally like that.
Accident, yeah. Right? But his breadth of experience, he does really good writing and stuff like that, and like his global experience, I think, is a perfect fit for what we're trying to accomplish with Modern Campground. Because yes, we're definitely going to cover the U.S. and as you heard, he lived in Hawaii and San Francisco for a good portion of his life, but he's also lived in so many other places like Japan and the Philippines and all those. And so I feel like he's got that global perspective over the industry that maybe somebody who's always lived in the States or always lived in Canada or always lived somewhere else, right, might not have. So it's a super great fit, and we're looking forward to having Daryl's going to be a regular part of the show here. He's going to, I don't know what we'll have to do, Cara, but maybe cover 3 to 5 different news stories where we can kind of have a discussion about it every week or something, or he'll do we'll talk about that, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it will evolve over time as we see how things fit together. It's great. It's always good to have another voice at the table. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, and Brian, can you define what Modern Campground is? Because I mean, you've mentioned the name, but make it really simple. What is it?
Yes,
so people know.
We're going to do that in a second.
Oh, okay.
Before we get there, like it's basically it's an outdoor hospitality site for RV park and campground owners. So we're covering, we're going to go through that. We're going to talk about all the things that we're covering, all the innovative stuff. But first, I want to let's have a general discussion of like the state of the industry is like, because we talked about innovation. I feel like when we were creating Modern Campground, there was a need for more expansive coverage, more original writing, more worldwide, right? That nobody's doing.
Right.
And so I feel like this is really going to contribute to making the industry, not that it needs to be more professional, but more complete. Professionally, does that work? Because there's a lot of investors and funds coming into it who are looking for this information, as evidenced by your getting into the RV park business group with 1,800 members. There's a hunger for this knowledge and information that they are getting from your group, but also needs to be done from a news perspective thing too. So, what do you guys think about that?
I think people are consuming news in newer ways. We're not just, Google searching for a topic and seeking out news. It's vital that Modern Campground is strategic about how it's feeding articles and providing access to its content. So I really love all of the great stuff I've seen so far from Modern Campground. I'm excited to see it just kind of take things up a notch from where they are specific to news in the industry at this point.
Right.
What do you guys think, Mark, Casey? Put you on the spot.
Yeah. No, I can go ahead. Daryl, this is a side note. The only state that CampSpot is not in is Hawaii. So I have
Hawaii.
Yeah, so I need you to get me an intro, and we can cross that our massive bucket list because it's the only state we don't have. But no, I mean, as far as overall about this, I mean, the industry is growing rapidly, and so people that if there are campground owners or viewers that potentially aren't interested, their kids, their managers, their employers are, right. So
right.
There's someone in these organizations that's craving additional information by, Mark's groups are a great example of just the amount of knowledge, quick knowledge that people come to expect and be able to get. But people typically within that aren't reading the full perspective of everything. It's just very quick comment, things of that sort. So I think there's definitely a place where people want to get, they want to get up-to-date information on campgrounds. Across the world, because the things that are working in, Canada may be working really well, really well working in the U.S. and vice versa. And so getting stories and getting content across the globe, I think adds a really, fun, cool, educational aspect to something that's kind of maybe been missing at this point in this industry.
Right.
Yeah, and the industry, when we look at the industry as a whole and where it's going, you need to look at where it's been and how it got here, right? Camping's always just been an alternative form of travel, generally enjoyed by people that are of middle class income. It's an inexpensive way to go enjoy things. And what happened during COVID and what's continuing to happen right now is the entire travel landscape and accommodation landscape has been turned on its head. And you got to look at it from both an industry side and the consumer side. And as a marketer, I always look at the consumer side first because that drives industry. What people want to buy and pay for is what the industry then needs to provide. And so when we look at the consumer side, there's a lot of angst within the consumer side. They want to do international travel, they want to do cruises, but then all of the different rules and regulations that are making it very difficult to do that, they're then choosing an alternative form of travel. And that's what we've seen happen with RV and camping. Is basically it's a great choice. Go buy an RV, I'm socially distanced, I can do what I want, I can start traveling. And there's been a whole bunch of people, all the data shows the points, whole bunch of people that have just entered the industry this year as campers. And so the big question that we have is, do they stay? Or do they just do it for a little bit and then they start doing something different? And so far, the early signs are showing that they like it. They're staying. They're enjoying your parks. They're enjoying destinations, and they're enjoying the travel. So going forward, it's going to take an industry wide perspective and focus to keep those people customers, continue to serve them, and provide the additional benefits that they have. And so as an industry, and that's really what this is pulling together the entire industry to talk about where we're going to go next. And when I say talk about, like, I can talk all day long, but in the end, it's what the owners decide to do with their park, right? Whatever they do is what they're going to provide to the consumer. The consumer either enjoys it or not, and that changes the industry. So in the end, the bottom line is the experience campers have in the campground is what drives either growth or decline in our industry.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, should we just show this thing? I feel like we should just show it.
Let's do it.
Please. I would love to see it.
And see. So
there we go.
So obviously, you guys can browse through this on your own, right? And I'm going to have Daryl go through a little bit about how we're finding stories and what we're looking for. Don't give away anything secret, Daryl.
Okay.
But we're going to go kind of through like what our goal is as we grow and how we're going to look for more things. But I just want to take in a quick tour of some of this stuff. Obviously, like when we were looking at this from a usability standpoint, the first thing we wanted was ease of use, because news store, like publishing 20 to 30 original articles a day as it is, and we're going to continue to grow that as we work toward it. Like right now, you don't see any advertising. When we open up the advertising, we start getting the traffic and like that more so than we already are. Then we'll continue to hire more writers, and we'll send people to conferences, and we'll create videos, and we'll do all those kinds of things. And so we're excited about that. But the volume of that news moves by at such a rapid pace that you could look at these box or top stories, and 2 hours, 3 hours later, there could be 5 completely different stories here, right?
Right.
And so make sure that you can search for everything as easily as possible. So, if you're looking for stories on Ohio, for example, it's literally going to pull up real time underneath you. You can scroll through the search boxes. You can find what you need. And then obviously you can click right to the article, or you can see all results to see a search page. But the idea being it's just super, like it'll search through all the, let's see if there's an article. Is there an article in Ket? Well, somehow you're in those 2 articles. Yeah, I don't know how, but
it's a simple search, but really, the problem in the RV news is,
so just finding stuff and all that kind of stuff so you can see what you want. And then we got everything broken apart like on the homepage into categories, right? So this top stories, like right now, this top stories is it we're tagging stories that we feel are kind of important or more relevant. Now, ideally, as we move forward, these are going to be things like Hardwick announces their conference, CCRBC announces Camper Appreciation Weekend, Cloud adds text messaging, stuff like that, right?
Right.
And so as we continue to grow the Modern Campground brand and we're able to reach out to KOA and say, like, we'd like to do an original story on you or an interview or whatever else, and KOA is like, oh, we know Modern Campground, not who is Modern Campground, then we can start to kind of cover more of that original content, and Daryl's going to spearhead those efforts, and we've got a couple of writers working with Daryl as well. So you'll see that kind of stuff start to evolve, but everything's tagged here. It's all organized, as you can see. For the United States and Canada, it's organized down to the state or province. And so if you look at a story like this and you're like, well, I've already read that $4 million Indiana startup article again, but I'm campgrounds in Indiana. I want to look at it. You can literally just click on Indiana. And it's going to show you all the stories that we currently have in Indiana. Now, obviously, it's light right now, right? We've only been publishing for what, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks now?
Yeah, about 3 weeks. Not even. So, yeah.
So I think it's going to rapidly fill in the information that's available to you there. But some of that stuff is, historically speaking, even though it's news, it doesn't get outdated. It's a resource you can go back and read about.
Right.
And learn about from your partners. So we want to have that array of knowledge there. And so province, state, and then by country. So we've got like Europe, and it's broken down by United Kingdom, by France, by Spain, by whatever you want to do. And same thing with, collecting news and videos and stuff like that. So really here under events, we're going to do a comprehensive calendar of your conference is coming up, KOA conference is coming up. Mark kept doing his 30,000 world conference thing. That's more of a
He said no.
But we're going to put that there in a calendar sheet. Click in and click through and kind of see all those events and stuff. Right now, it's just listing a couple campgrounds. That's where that's like. Apparently, Daryl can't work 100 hours a week. It's not.
I'm trying.
It's 1 a.m. where he is.
Ask me to do that, so we got to just do this bite size, little by little.
Yeah.
But then again, underneath there, real quick, we got it broken down by USA, by Canada, the top stories, by Europe, underneath that.
Right.
Oceania, which I still just want to call Australia, but it's Oceania. I feel like they renamed it when I was grade, but I'm still not used to it. And then around the world just kind of aggregates it more into categories and stuff. Like you can see we're having some trouble finding content in South America and Africa. Was that in your group, Mark, that we saw the lady from
Argentina?
Patagonia?
Yeah.
So, we want to find some, maybe we'll reach out and try to interview her or something. So,
right. That sounds good.
But, we're going to look for, obviously we know camping exists in Africa and South America. We just have to be smart about it, talk about it. So. And then the Glammy industry section we're going to cover lately. That'll grow, and then of course our press release section and stuff like that. So.
Right.
So you're going, you're stepping your toes in lightly, right? I mean, geez, that's everything. That's a lot of work, right?
Well, I mean, it's Daryl and our writers who are really doing stuff. Yeah, we're stepping in. I mean, we want to ramp it up. Like we have a real vision in our head of like, this is a great start, but we really want to uncover some of these stories that nobody else is talking about, right? Like, it's very easy to write a story about Arvins because that's huge news and everybody wants to talk about that.
Right.
It's very easy to cover those main topics, but if we get more writers and more staff, and some of that's of course going to be supported by the advertising, we're going to have those partners. But we're also giving you a global audience that we feel is going to be able to be trackable and stuff like that. But that's going to be able to help us grow our staff and cover more of this stuff. So.
Right.
So is your goal, Brian, for this? Is it primarily campground, employees, owners, managers, or is the goal of this a cross between that and your average person that's interested in camping articles? Like who's the main audience that you're going for?
So I think my main audience is campground RV park owners, managers, employees, team members, work campers, stuff like that. Now I think as a natural consequence of us doing SEO and covering so many things in so many places, that you're going to have an audience of campers to some extent who are interested in this. But I don't think they're regularly following the blog like the industry would be. Because they're looking at one article that may impact them that they find through Google search. They're not coming back here and looking at a regular stream like a campground or would. So
sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Then you go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Brian. We must have a delay. I was just going to say, more than anything, to me, the ability to just filter by topic and region and things, it's so unheard of, specific to the camping industry news itself, that stuff alone, I mean, on top of how much work it probably was to build and orchestrate, the functionality and ease of it is going to make this an incredible resource that we just have never seen before, specific to our industry.
Right. I guess that's one of our Oh, go ahead, Brian.
No,
sorry.
Go ahead, Daryl, please. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's one of our targets. In making the website is its ease of use. More than anything else, it's ease of use. And as you can see, the website's very visual. We like to keep it visual so that so it's enticing to the eyes and it's easy to use. And we offer different languages, for people that, you can just click the select language button right there and languages will pop up in Spanish.
Let's pick one and show them.
South Korean.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be a nice visual one.
Right. Nice visual one.
There you go. Hopefully now that is Google's AI.
Yeah, so
if that's anything offensive to the people who are watching in Korea, I apologize.
I am so sorry.
It's all Daryl's fault.
We are so sorry.
That's awesome.
But yeah, see, now it's in Korean, so it's pretty cool. Yep.
So real time, and you can watch, change stuff around, and so that's part of our reason. Like, we know we're going after a global audience, and so we want a language in which they're comfortable in, and so we'll default to English around the world, everywhere. But you can very easily switch that to real time.
So Brian, aside from growing the content library fundamentally, what are your goals for Modern Campground? Like, what long term, what do you see?
I mean, long term, what I really hope is to continue to bring in addition to the original content, right? I want to send people to all the conferences. I want to have them tell the stories of individual park owners and their struggles at their park, or what they did really well at their park, or even cover individual campgrounds, right? Like, some of this is a new renovations I did at my park, or I added this, and this is how much I spent. Mark's groups are such a huge resource of information, but they also go by super fast, right? And so you can still search through that and you can find all that useful knowledge, but I think if we can organize it in a way where we share photos of the individual parks and all that, kind of people can go back and reference kind of a library of that. Like, the sky's the limit, right? We want to hear suggestions from people. We want to listen. Like, I've tossed around the resources section idea, right? Where we list, obviously the associations and things like that, but training materials, or here's some articles we're writing on marketing, or how different types of glamping tents and stuff like that. So kind of people can go back and just reference articles as a library of education too.
Right.
But who knows? Really, it's all going to depend on the traffic's got to go up, which it will. It's already exceeded our expectation. But it's new and Google. We're going to be sandboxed for a little bit before Google's like, oh, they're established for probably a couple months. So when we get there, we'll open it up to advertisers and all that kind of stuff. And the more that we're supported in the industry, the more we're going to support the industry. And that includes the suppliers and the vendors who are placing ads and things like that too. Supplier profiles are going to be an option for our advertising, where you can have like a permanent kind of press release center where you'll have videos of your company and you can link to your website, your social media feeds, and we'll have all the press releases you've ever published on the site. So those kinds of things. We're just trying to innovate and figure out ways to help people.
Yeah, I love it.
Right.
But beyond that, like, we're really trying to push into technology, right? So we're just jumping into this article right here, just British Columbia as an example. We're commenting and stuff like that here, but one of the big things is, like, we're trying to embrace as much technology as possible. So I don't know if the audio comes through here, but you can play every single article.
Columbia Village now allowing people to live in RVs for up to 4 years. The Village Council has granted permission.
So I don't know if you guys can hear that coming through there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can hear it.
Okay, cool. So, it's automatically transcribing every single article. You can listen to that stuff in real time. And so if you're in the car or you are busy and you're sitting in your office or something like that, then you can listen to the articles instead of scrolling through and reading them. So that's something we think is super cool. And on the right-hand side here, just going further into the audio game, right? Like you can listen on Apple Podcasts. If you're an Apple Podcast regularly, you can go right to Apple Podcasts, and the audio from the articles are literally right here.
Dawson's Creek star invests in a big RV. Kimberly, the wife of James Fairby.
So you can literally have a feed of your daily campground news that's going to publish this instantly on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, dozens of other sites. So whatever you use, chances are our podcast is on there. And if you have one where it's not, let us know. But we want you to be able to listen to a news feed, because maybe you don't want to go back to the site. Like we were showing you, Mark, on news.google.com yesterday. Wherever you listen or hear or read or whatever is your preference, that's where we want you to consume this news at. We don't always force you back here to read the individual articles if you don't want to, or if you prefer to consume it in a different form or fashion. We're on Alexa too. We've got an Alexa skill if you've got an Alexa, where you can add us to your flash briefing, which is Alexa, tell me the news in the morning or whatever, right? And you can add Modern Campground into there, and it'll read you the top stories through Alexa as well. So just super cool stuff. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's great.
I'm not looking at the video, so when I screen share, I have to look at the other tab, and so I can't see your guys' facial expressions and all that kind of stuff.
We've all been holding our hands up for 20 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
It's over. You've seen the website. No, but then underneath that, obviously, we've got comments and stuff, so you can log into Facebook and all those kinds of things and leave comments. And I know that's kind of an old school thing, but we want to encourage some discussion there and things like that if we can. And then, subscribe. It's super cool. We're not sending a newsletter yet. It's definitely in the plans. We're going to segment the newsletters by whatever topic you're interested in. So right now, USA, Canada, Europe, breaking news, top stories. Might do text alerts, breaking news. It's something that people are interested in. Maybe we end up breaking it down into state. I don't know. It depends on the volume of stuff that we're covering, right?
Right.
If it's a weekly email, then maybe we can do that. But we've got all that kind of stuff going on. So, opportunities for you to read about advertising, share your press releases, share your events with us. If you're an association, you've got an event coming up. If you're, whoever.
So,
right?
Brian, where do people send the press releases?
Right here. So you just click send your press release, and there's a form right here. You just fill out your name, your email, briefly tell us about your news. You can attach your docs, your PDFs, images that you want. You can choose the date that you want us to publish it. So if it's a secret until October 31st, you can tell us that. We'll publish that. So.
Nice.
That's
Very cool.
And then same with events, right? So if you got an event, it's easy. Send us photos of your events. We can publish all that kind of stuff. There's supporting documents, all that kind of jazz. We want to make sure that you do all that. And then we're looking for columnists too. So if you're watching the show and you want to write, we're not taking a one-off guest post right now. I think eventually, and maybe that'll be more Daryl's decision than mine. But we want to have regular columnists. And so if you're interested in, obviously you're Casey, for example, right? We're going to have a camp spot or a camp spot once a week or once a month. But if you want to have a columnist from Camp Spot on there who can come on and who can write about, dynamic pricing and site lock fees and text messaging and why those things are important, and then, oh yes, by the way, Camp Spot offers it, 100% fine. But we want to provide value to guests and stuff like that. So we really we're going to open up to columnists. We'll give you your own bio, link back to your site. We'll introduce yourself and talk about it. It's going to be SEO'd for authors, so you'll show up in the search everywhere as an authority, and kind of grants you that's for benefits that way. So I don't know. Is there anything else I've missed, Daryl? I feel like we'll go into the philosophy a little bit about it, but have I missed anything?
With sharing, no. We've actually covered what we wanted to share about Modern Campground, and about the future and where it'll lead to in a couple of months. I feel like once Google starts taking notice, it's one of the most important things to take into account is when Google finally notices us in a couple of months. That's when I guess me and Brian will start talking about getting advertising in and start, running things with advertisers. And, again, the more we take from the industry, the more we give back to them. It's kind of like the philosophy here. So yeah, I think we're on the right track, Brian.
Cool.
Yeah, I think so. I'm excited.
Yeah, and again, we just want to hear feedback from everybody, right? So we're broadcasting in Mark's groups and on the Canadian Camping and RV Council Facebook page and their groups and a bunch of other places. And so we want to hear from you guys. Like, if what we're doing is good and great and you love it, then tell us. And we'll be doing more of it. If what we're doing sucks or there's an article you don't like or whatever else, tell us. And we won't do it again. If there's an area we should expand into and cover that you're not seeing enough content on, let us know.
Right.
Absolutely.
We'll see if we can find it and write about it. So we want to always be evolving, always be listening, always be
Totally.
All right, we're only at 30
Deeper
minutes.
information out there, that's for sure. So many new parks, new owners, new people coming into the industry. For them to learn, it's vital. So this is good stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
So let's pivot a little bit, right? Let's Mark's here. Obviously, we're in his groups. We talked about him. He's doing these super cool virtual tours. Let's just talk a little bit about the service that you're offering, Mark.
Yeah, actually, it may be easier, Brian, if you shared your screen. Could you go to our demo page at Campground Views?
Do I have that link? Or
Just type campgroundviews.com.
You know what? You can share your screen too, Mark.
My camera's in front of my screen, so it's if you see me doing this, I'm trying to look at the screen. To be honest.
All right, let's see here. I am there, so I'm not looking at you. You should see that, but tell me where to scroll.
Okay, go to see the join at the top there. Just click that. Up in the top menu button.
All right, cool.
And then scroll down a little bit. There's going to be a demonstration. And so as everybody knows, or you may not know, our company, campgroundviews.com, connects campers with campgrounds. And the way we do that is visual, so photos and videos. And if you scroll down a little bit, there'll be a demonstration here. But we've been doing video marketing for campgrounds and RV parks for several years now and have measured insane results. I mean, parks have measured $144,000 in additional income in 1 year utilizing our services. Crazy numbers, right?
Crazy.
And so this new technology utilizes, it sounds like I'm getting feedback, Brian. Is that video playing up above you? We can do that as visual, so photos.
No, I'm playing up above me, I don't think. Is it? I think there's audio in your tour. Is there audio in your
Not in the
tour?
360. So what you're looking at, though, Brian, you can use your mouse to look around, just move the screen, very much like Google Street View. This new technology allows people to virtually tour campgrounds and RV parks, see the roads, see the sites. And if you notice over that site, there was a little red marker to your right. There's a little bit of a delay here, but there'll be a red marker. If you see that, you can go ahead and click on that, Brian, and that'll pull up information.
My internet, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
So if you click on the red marker, it'll give you information about that site. So what this does is this combines our 360 video that's been amazing for parks, and it integrates with your underlying reservation engine. It doesn't replace it. We didn't build a reservation engine here. It sits on top of your existing reservation engine and allows consumers to do what they want to do, which is see your park. It is a fundamental transformation in the way people will find campsites. And as of right now, we have over 450 campgrounds within the recreation.gov system. So federal properties, Forest Service campgrounds, national parks, stop campgrounds. We have 450 of those locations already in this experience right now. And it's the people are saying it. It's not us, the consumers. This is it. I've been wanting this. This is amazing. And so that's our new service, is the 360 virtual tours. And we're bringing this out into the market right now.
There we go. I'm going to play just for a second and see if we can watch. But I think it's definitely my internet. It's just a little bit slow.
Yeah, so it loads in 4K video. So but it also downsample based upon your internet speed. So it looks like that's what we got going on here.
Yeah, so I'm just having slow internet speeds. I'm on my cell phone hotspot this morning.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so so super cool. Like, what I want to see, like, eventually, Mark, are we gonna do this eventually? Are we gonna have like VR goggles we can tour like campgrounds at shows and stuff?
This would work with VR goggles as it sits right now. Most people don't use VR goggles, but what we're going to be doing is adding in more features on this. So again, this sits on top of the underlying booking engine. So really, it's not replacing anything. It's just an additional marketing tool. So for example, in the top right-hand corner of that demonstration there, you'll see a little map with some icons on it. That's the actual coordinates of the camera as it traveled through the park. And we're going to make that more interactive so you can easily click and jump through the spots. Another feature, if you bottom right, is there a little calendar icon there, Brian? If you click that, it allows the user to set their dates of stay, and then it automatically updates the availability. So if the site's available, it turns green versus red, and then they'll know that that particular site is available. In this case, it works with recreation.gov, where they allow you to book individual sites. And, it depends on how you accept reservations, whether or not that feature fully works. But that's what we're providing right now.
That one's open. I got to book it.
Exactly.
Where'd it go?
Well, especially in recreation.gov, that's a true statement because there's been so much demand in that market. The key thing here is, see that one's available, right? It's green. The key thing that we're helping with recreation. I'm sorry? Yeah, hit pause. I think it's your internet connection is jumping.
Oh, okay.
So you're
I was
jumping.
going to say
you're jumping through sequences.
Literally chasing campsites. That'd be a cool feature. People exercise.
Take it, grab it. Yeah, but consumers want to be able to see the sites. I mean, everybody has different equipment, different size RVs, different size trailers, different amount of stuff that they're bringing in. I mean, Casey and CampSpot, they've proven this with the site lock fees, right? People want to pick their campsite. And so being able to empower them to not only pick the campsite, but actually see what they're getting, it's going to do a few things. It's already doing a few things. Number one, it's drawing people into lesser known locations. And number two, it's allowing people who may not really be interested in camping that much to see, oh, wow, that's actually a pretty amazing place. Let's go there. So it's lowering the barriers to entry into camping and overall improving the camping experience for, anybody who uses the experience.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. It's innovation, right? That's what we need.
Yeah.
We're talking about with Modern Campground, we're talking about with CampSpot, we're talking about with you now. The more things and ways that people can embrace technology, because yes, we understand that camping is an outdoor experience, and we'd love for all of them to disconnect. We'd love to not have to have Wi-Fi in the campground, right?
Right.
But we do. It's not going away. It's a mindset thing to continue to adopt social media and share things and use all this stuff. And so, if you can adopt it and give them what they're used to doing and seeing and interacting with, then it's just an easier path for you to get those bookings for people who are more confident in what you're
Well, in the recreation.gov, one of the questions people ask is why that? Well, because they had the integration, we had the ability to film a bunch of parks, but there's some interesting data points within recreation.gov. So they have like 1,200 family-style campgrounds nationwide. Their average occupancy is only like 43% across the system.
Wow.
But yet we all read news stories all the time that they're full. Those news stories are wrong. The popular ones are full.
Because they always want to go to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, the popular ones are full, but people don't know about the other ones that are outside of there, and they're not going to those places because they don't have information on them. And so what we're doing is we're filling that information void and actually allowing people to find campsites that may not be the most popular one within the recreation.gov system. I mean, what we've got now is in the last 30 days, our site traffic has doubled, which it had already doubled from the year before. So it doubled on a double. And that's just kind of validating that people want this experience and they're kind of clamoring for it. So we've got something here. And if any private parks are interested in evaluating this for their location, we can do it for them. And, let's connect.
Cool.
Right, sure.
Cool.
I see there is a massive collection on the West Coast there.
Yeah, exactly. So we
Are you going to be in 27 places at once?
Dude, we could do a whole episode about trying to film public parks during COVID and wildfires. I don't advise anybody do it. In fact, we've got a videographer right now. He's in California filming, and he pings me last night. He says there's a fire, and it's called the Calidor fire, or the Calidor fire. You'll see this on the news today. It went from 500 acres to 30,000 to 60,000. And he's like, hey, I'm not going anywhere near that. And he's literally right there. So, one of the biggest complaints we get right now is how come you don't have this campground, and especially in California? How come we don't have California parks? Well, if you remember last year during the summertime, the entire U.S. Forest Service system in California was shut down with signs saying $10,000 fine for entering. So we didn't film it last year. That's why we're doing it this year. But yeah, it's been an adventure for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So cool. That looks awesome.
So great.
So how does this, and maybe you don't want to tell us, right, because it's proprietary, but how does this VR virtual tour stuff evolve in your mind, Mark?
Where does it go?
you want to keep enhancing your services, right? We know what your core offering is, but if you could do whatever you wanted, technology continue to evolve. Where does it go?
So, like I said, we didn't build a reservation engine. So, we're not competing with Campspot, right? We actually sit on top of the underlying booking engine. So, our goal is to capture every single campground and RV park in this VR experience and enable that. And so, in the not too distant future, I would say about a year and a half down the road, we'll have a do-it-yourself module where park owners could actually get a camera, film their own park, and upload it and do everything. There's some stuff we need to make work on that. So right now we need to film it because it's a pretty technical process to make happen. But eventually we want this to be as ubiquitous as Google Street View for campgrounds, so allow people to actually go tour any campground RV park nationwide. And then it becomes a portal into it. So we're not, there's actually, since it's an industry show, right? When we look at the industry, you don't want to jump into a revenue stream with somebody. Like, you don't want to take a cut of the reservation booking process. So the real trick is how you monetize that. And we basically are doing two things. One is members paying us to be able to view the experience on campgroundviews.com. And then two, licensing it to parks to be able to empower them to provide it on their system. So that's where we're going with this thing.
Wow.
Let's put Casey on the spot. Casey,
don't put Casey on the spot. Casey and I have had many conversations, and CampSpot's been an amazing partner for us, and they are developing the tools for their clients, which are the RV parks, and so that's
Mark and I had a bunch of cool conversations with this. Again, I love where the industry's going, because even CampSpot was innovative in the sense by just providing a map, right? That was like new people that say, hey, I want to be able to choose a spot and get an idea what it looks like just with photos and just an overall map layout. So, we started there, and we love the idea of continuing to progress towards parks that want to enable video and want to enable things like that. So that's definitely something on our radar to continue to vet out the need and vet out how much interest there is with parks. The public sector, though, it's brilliant. It was the right play to start there for market group, because the ones that are super popular, even within those, you try to get a certain spot, but the location can make such a massive difference in your camping experience. That's why we focus on at least building a map to understand where you're going to be, and allowing people, alluded this earlier with lock site revenue. Even that being, we created that in 2015. And there's a lot of places that have followed suit with that, and they should. I just got these numbers in this morning, so I think it's, that's why I'm sharing them. But, there was, since in the last 12 months, there was over $9 million generated for parks and lock site revenue.
Wow.
Just through CampSpot. Right? So this is a significant amount of money of people saying, I want to know where I'm going to stay, and I'm willing to pay additional for it. So we know location's important. We know that people have a genuine interest. The highest park last month, a park made $58,000 in lock site revenue just last month.
In 1 month.
In 1 month, yeah, which is insane. And so
I am in the wrong business.
A lot of people are saying that right now. A lot of people are saying that's why you have so many new RV park owners right now, and campground owners that are out there in the space. But it's just incredible what just allowing people to see what the park has available, and allowing them to choose their spot, what that does, for the consumer satisfaction, but then obviously the parks get to take advantage of that as well, because it is that part of their booking experience. So for CampSpot, for us, really moving forward, we had a big growth season. we had the last 2 years were some big growth for us, and with that comes, sustaining that, right? Being able to, take 100 times the load that even you could even, when you take the amount of additional parks, you take the amount of additional users, and then you take the traffic from consumers that just went nuts, that are looking on these and looking for sites and things of that sort. So for us, it's been a big year of what is going to continue to push the envelope forward, right? What are the feature sets that are actually going to continue to stick with our business model, which our business model is to drive revenue. It's to make the parks as much money as possible. That's our goal. It's with that comes automation. With that kind of can come with some of these, fun features. But overall, we're going to choose a revenue generating feature over a fun feature every single time. And for some campgrounds,
Come on, Casey. We need fun.
Yeah. Well,
Can we get when somebody makes a reservation? Can we have confetti?
Well, no. I mean, parks will say, I want to be able to change the colors in my grid, and I want to be able to, I want to be able to edit, text fonts and stuff. And we're kind of like, well, that seems fun, but like we really want to focus on what's going to make parks more money, and we really want to continue to innovate in that regards. And we've done a good job of that. We've done a really good job, I think, of that so far, but we're, our job's not done yet, right? I mean, anything we create or we innovate, someone else is going to, have it within a year or two, right? So we know that you have to continue to push forward, to continue to be a leader in this space with, what is it that we can do to help these businesses continue to thrive. And so a lot of cool things we have coming down the pipeline with different integrations and with different smart pricing features and ways that parks can maybe not have to have a data analyst on their team, all the time looking at rates and revenue and looking at occupancy, and can technology and can algorithms do that for them. So those are the things that we're focused on and that we're rolling out and really excited for what it's going to do for these parks. The most exciting part of our job still is when a park's hesitant to come on, in the sense of, I don't know if I want to take online reservations, or, we've been doing it on pen and paper forever and it works fine, or, we have a system that's always worked, but they don't quite know all the benefits they can get from just using technology. And then seeing that after a season or 2 seasons and say, there's some learning curves, of course, but our revenue went crazy. Our revenue went up
this month on lock fee income.
Yeah, and that's the fun part. And then what you get is, hey, we're expanding. I think we did 322. I think there's about 1,400 campgrounds that use CampSpot right now. We did, I think, 320 some map edits over like the last 45 days.
Wow.
So what does that mean? That means that a third of our customers are doing some sort of expansion or change or doing something in the park. Well, how do you typically do that? You do that because you're making money, right? I mean, usually that's the case. Usually don't add more cabins if you're hemorrhaging cash. You usually do that because you had a great season. Now, every campground probably had a great season, but how good can it be, right? How much additional revenue could be made? And that's what's just so exciting for us to see is, hey, we're adding some more cabins, or we're expanding this. We're adding 5 more sites, 10 more sites. We bought another campground, like we've seen that a ton, where it's like we had our campground with 40 sites, and now we just bought one that's 90 sites. And it's just exciting. It's cool to see. It's cool to see the success in the industry, and it's cool to see, the role that we get to play, in a small portion of assisting with that.
Well, 1,400 parks. I mean, where were you at a year ago, Casey? Do you remember a number of parks that were utilizing CampSpot?
Yeah, we've grown 600 parks the last 2 years.
Wow.
So like 570 2 years ago, then I think about 640 this past one, and so it's cool to see. Like I said, it's the industry is obviously needs it, right? The campground owners and managers and staff. It was brutal this year. I mean, the amount of phone calls and new people camping. I think we had more than 50 parks like wave the white flag and literally put on the website, we're only doing online reservations. You cannot book a reservation with us. And that takes a lot of trust.
Yeah.
And for those parks that did that, I mean, what was their experience? Did the consumer? I know what the answer is going to be on this, but I'm leading you on this one. Did the consumer complain and say, "Oh no, I really wanted to call and wait on hold and talk to you," or like, "Sweet, I'm going to book online"?
Yeah, well, what it did, if anything, is of course you're going to have some frustrated customers that I just want to be able to get through and talk with someone, and you got to have a lot of confidence in the system. I'm not saying just us; other places might be doing this too, but in order to think that, okay, this system is going to show everything that we have available, there doesn't have to be any workarounds. There doesn't have to ever be an excuse or a unique reason of why, you would need to talk to someone on the phone. Mm-hmm. But I mean, what the experience was, like I said, I cannot believe how much time I had back. I can't believe, how much it didn't affect our occupancy, how much it didn't affect our revenue, and how much of my life I have back. Now, does everyone have to go to that extreme? Of course not. You don't have to fully do that. But, we've had a lot of parks this year too, kind of get the nerve or the confidence to say, even while they're answering the phone, hey, everything's available online. Go ahead and check there first. If you have any problems or questions, give us a call back. Well, what happened? no one calls back, right? No one calls back because they go on there, they give it 3 seconds or a minute to get an idea of what's available, and they're good to go. So is that the right fit for every campground? No. We still have campgrounds all the time that are saying, we like to vet them out on the phone before they can come here. We like to talk with every single person before they come to the campground. And I'm going, that's bananas. Like, that's crazy. But it's your world, right? This is your park. You get to do, how many people are you turning down over the phone like that? You're sensing their voice makes them, someone you don't want in your park, and you're like, I'm cutting you off. But that's still the industry, right? So we gotta come up with features and ways to keep moving forward with park owners that still have that kind of mindset. So,
right.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm right, but gamification feels like the way to go, Casey. I feel like the confetti, like a spinning wheel where you can win a prize.
Yeah.
The only way you can get there is to spend money to make a reservation. That's revenue enhancement.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, yeah, it's crazy how many parks have adapted this season, or really focused on it, and they jumped. I mean, the industry average still in the space is wild. It's somewhere in the 30%, something like that overall, as far as the percentage of bookings that happen online. If even that, I mean, that's up from 20% maybe just a couple of years ago. But I mean,
as a whole, for the whole industry, is only 30%.
I think the whole industry, online reservations, now that's changed a lot with the public. Like, so, because again, that's simply all focused on rev. But as far as public parks, I should say private parks, not public parks, but private parks. I mean, it's been under 50% in general for indefinitely to some extent. And that's changing very, very quickly. And we're seeing parks go from either no online reservations to immediately 60, 70, 80% their first season. I mean, just you think about the amount of phone calls and time that is. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah. I have so many members who are incredibly burnt out after a couple of tough seasons and being short-staffed and all of those things. Like, and it's funny when I'm talking with them, are you automating what you can automate? How are you trying to solve this problem when you can't get staff? And so those are interesting ways to kind of think outside the box about solving those issues. And the burnout has been really real. I have some campground owners who are like, I might close my park early this season. Like, I'm tired.
Well, and Cara, we've seen that in the group. There's been a lot of longtime members who actually sold their parks this year. They just, I'm done, and they're selling. And so we're seeing this transition right now. I mean, what is your advice then to owners that are in that position right now?
Right now, yeah, I think, like I said, automation. If you're still taking all of your bookings via phone with paper and pencil, like, maybe you need to rethink some of the ways that your daily operations go, so that you can streamline stuff and take some pressure off your shoulders. I know it's tough to kind of give up. I mean, I was a campground owner for a long time. It's tough to kind of, like Casey said, have confidence in that automation and let go of some of those reins a little bit. But it can really shift your daily operations stuff. Now you get to kind of focus on your guests who are in the park, and that always typically has a very positive kind of impact in my experience as an owner, on my daily life. So there are ways to strategically kind of shift how you operate that can relieve some of that pressure when maybe you don't have access to staffing.
Yeah, staffing's been a big topic. I mean, it's hard to find employees in general, right? And so you add that to where traditionally that wasn't an issue or wasn't as big of an issue, and then you add the demand of the amount of people that are interested now in camping or want to go camping. It just amplifies itself. So yeah, I mean, automation is definitely key. And even the process of signing waivers manually, and doing some of those things and checking and gathering that guest information, and you got to have all that stuff. It's all necessary, but to not have it automated. And to be honest, I mean, if you're campground, if someone can't choose, and I'm a little biased here, of course, but if someone can't choose their spot or their location, at least see the park layout and get an idea of where they're going to be, what's it going to do? It's going to generate a phone call. I mean, it absolutely is. I mean, people want to know whereabouts they're going to be at the campground, and there's no. It makes the experience. So by not having that, I mean, it fundamentally adds to the amount of phone calls you're going to get. There's
Yep.
no other.
Yeah, we've like with the 360 stuff, we've measured parks have directly measured a drop of 40% in phone calls just by allowing the consumer to see the park. I mean, and that's 40%. Imagine 40% of your phone calls going away. And that was, one of the things with CampSpot. I know you've got data, Casey, on the increases in online bookings when people utilize your technology. You see these massive increases. And so there's all these data points. So I think for owners, there's two hurdles. One, there's that fear of the data, but the second thing is the technology. A lot of owners may not be tech savvy, and that's a fear too. And so one of the things is it falls upon like CampSpot or the other, whoever their software engine is to make that user experience more beneficial. But I'd also encourage folks, if you aren't tech savvy in the off season this year, maybe do some online training programs. Just get to know Windows or Apple or whatever. Just do a generic tech training so that you can get more comfortable with your device and your technology. Because the reality is we saw a massive amount of people enter the industry. It does not look like they're going away. And unless, barring some unforeseen circumstance, you're going to have another record year next year. So you need to start thinking about getting ready for that one.
It's already there. I mean, the advanced booking data that we have, we'll release this soon. I mean, it's up over, I believe it's up over 60%. I mean, and we have parks that are legitimately 40 to 50% full next year on those weekends. I mean, it's the advanced. I mean, we're doing a big push here in September, October, like telling parks, like, let's get your pricing ready to go as quickly as possible, even though they might still be open. Traditionally start looking at this in January and discussing it then. It's like, do it now because people are booking up. People are booking this stuff right now because they experienced this year not being able to go where they want or not get the spot that they wanted. So they're booking it up now well in advance, which is best case scenario. I mean, that's where you can start to look at, you're increasing your prices 7 months before the reservation date is even there because the demand's already there. So you can set triggers on your pricing and start increasing things, and you get a lot more strict with your cancellation policies and things like that. So I mean, so many campground owners are so hesitant to have a strict cancellation policy, thinking, oh well, what will Mary think if they cancel? I don't give her 100% of her money back. It's like there's 30 other people that want that spot. And if Mary's not commit to it, and if she does and she cancels, there's a penalty to that, right? Because you're using up your valuable inventory. So it's been a good learning year. Hopefully, some of the data that we can provide will help shape that a little bit and stuff like that. I mean, to bring this full circle, the avenues that Mark has and the avenues that Cara has with her platform and Brian and Daryl that you guys are pushing out. I mean, this is the information that the industry needs, right, to help them move things along, and this is the type of information, exactly what Modern Campground and these different groups provide. It's this data, right? It's this information, so you can run your business a lot cleaner, a lot more effective.
Charge lock fees.
Absolutely should.
Can we do that? Can we do that on Modern Campground? Can we charge people to lock an article?
I'm confident.
We'll like a pre-release the article 30 seconds before everybody else
just lock it on your site, and then it never.
Right, exactly. I think we have that technology. I think we can do that.
Just click on the article, and there's a box that says, "Sorry, Steve is reading this now." Steve's done.
I'll give you an extra $5 to lock one of our articles in there for
right at the top. Yeah. That's awesome.
So yeah, I think we're almost out of time, gentlemen. Any and Cara, is there anything that you guys want to wrap up with, close out with?
No, I'm excited for this, man. It looks great. The content's good. The industry's hungry for it. So excited for you guys and where this goes.
Yeah, and for the two Facebook groups that I operate, you'll see these on a weekly basis from Modern Campground. If you like it, let us know. If you don't, let us know also. We're very open to feedback on this.
No, if you don't say anything. Mark might
just let Brian know. Don't bother with me. But you'll see more of these things. Again, the whole purpose is to get you more information. So let us know if that's helping you out or not.
Please.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, please.
Awesome. We're really looking forward to it. Thank you guys again for watching this episode of MC Fireside Chats. Again, we're available on all kinds of different Facebook pages. You can go back and watch us later, YouTube channels, all that kind of stuff, as well as podcasts, Spotify, Google, all that kind of stuff. Just really looking forward to continuing to innovate the industry, to change what is information is out there, and and all those kinds of things, and obviously continue to work with all the people here on stuff. So Daryl, like, what do we got? Close. Like, is there anything else you want to say, Daryl? I feel like you're the person.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for being very warm, and I'm really, really happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. Aloha is what we like to say. So,
oh, we should say that, right, Karen? Like, we got to tell them what we're doing next week.
Yeah.
oh,
So it's half a secret and it's half not a secret. So we'll say, like, reaching new audiences will be the title, but we're going to talk about a couple different things primarily, right? One is going to be amenities and attractions at your campground. So, like, unique things you can do to reach a new audience, to bring people in that maybe not every campground is doing, or not a lot of campgrounds are doing. So we're going to do that. We're going to be a super cool on location somewhere, not sitting here inside. And so it'll be really entertaining, we promise.
that'd be
And
really
then talk
cool.
about, like, reaching new markets too, right? So we're going to have Shane Devonish on, a couple other people talking about reaching into Canada and targeting markets there, both from a campground perspective and a supplier vendor perspective too. Just to talk about how you can do things like that, and obviously other countries too, but U.S. and Canada specifically.
Fun fact, Brian, just 'cause I got this data in front of me. Last 12 months add-on revenue we've had, it's been over $22 million in just add-on revenue.
Wow.
So what you're talking about next week is really, really, really important because of the amount of additional things people are wanting to buy to enhance their camping experience. So have fun with that one.
Grab the dollar.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Sounds
I appreciate you guys watching. We're wrapping up here. We will see you next week. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks, guys.